Hello everyone. Thank you for taking time and joining the webinar today. A warm welcome to everyone. I hope my voice is audible and the display is well and clear. If not, kindly let us know through the chat. Let me introduce myself. My name is Praveen and I'm the technical consultant for ID security solutions here at Manage Engine, and I'm your presenter for today. Before I start into today's session, with regards to questions, please feel free to raise as many questions as possible using the chat window during the course of presentation. I will answer them towards the end of the session, and when it comes to recording, a copy of recording can be shared with you. Shouldn't be a problem. All you have to do is just drop a message with your registered email ID, and I can have a copy emailed to your inbox. This webinar is exclusively for password users to know about the various actions that can be performed by them. Password users can only view the passwords that are shared with them by an administrator or a password administrator. In addition, users with this role can modify the passwords shared with them if the share permission gives them that privilege. So this is an exclusive training for Password Manager Pro end users. In today's agenda, we will first discuss about the importance of secure password management, followed by a quick product overview so that you can understand the capabilities of Password Manager Pro and the different terminologies used in the product. Then we will have a look at the various actions which can be performed by password users, like viewing the shared credentials, modifying them, and how to raise a password request, etc. Also, managing the personal passwords and how to make use of the browser extensions, mobile apps. Towards the end, we will have a question and answer session. This is going to be the agenda for today. First, why is password management essential for business of any size? Lost passwords are a major time shrink for help desk. Experts recommend against storing passwords in unencrypted files or on a paper notes, which means that user must commit them to memory. Not surprisingly, people forget. That's why Gartner has estimated that up to 70% of help desk calls are for password reset at some companies, with an average cost per reset of about $70 according to Forrester research. You can quickly imagine how those costs add up. Password management solutions like Password Manager Pro by Manage Engine protect against attacks. Phishing attacks are one of the most effective ways cyber criminals steal login credentials. Phishing emails that appear to come from legitimate services but that actually direct recipients to bogus login screens that are set up solely to capturing their passwords. Most people are prone to phishing attacks, but password managers like Manage Engine Password Manager Pro aren't. If the domain name does not match the record with the password manager, it won't serve up the password. Support multi-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication requires users to supplement a second form of identity, such as answer a phone call or a PIN generated in the mobile apps. Leading password management solutions like Password Manager Pro provides various two-factor authentication mechanisms, which will add an extra layer of protection for everything stored inside the solution. Easily record password changes. The auditing and the compliance team make it as a mandatory to regularly change the passwords. This is a sound security practice. Unfortunately, it also creates the need for users to note those new passwords somewhere. Some will invariably fall through the cracks. Password managers like Password Manager Pro helps to achieve the complete password reset cycle with powerful auditing and maintaining the history of changes. Helps in creation and use of strong passwords. A password is not considered secure unless it has 12 characters long and contains a random combination of numbers, symbols, uppercases, and lowercase letters. Few people have the patience if or a skill to create unique passwords of that complexity for the account. Particularly if they have to memorize them, it's going to be difficult. Password managers have algorithms that automatically generate secure passwords and store them securely so users don't have to remember them. So Manage Engine has that option to generate the strong unique passwords. Now let's get into overview of Password Manager Pro. Manage Engine Password Manager Pro is a complete solution to control, manage, and audit the entire life cycle of privileged account management and their access. In a single package, it offers three solutions: privileged account management, remote access management, and privileged session management. The first feature of Password Manager Pro is going to be to store and organize the passwords in a secure vault, okay, where the shared sensitive information such as passwords, documents, and digital identities of an enterprise can be securely stored inside this tool. The next important feature is going to be sharing the passwords. This tool is built based on ownership concept. So if you add some passwords inside this tool, by default, it will not be visible to any other user, not even to another administrator. So as the owner of the passwords, the administrators will decide which users should have access to which password. Based on the requirements, they will be able to securely share the passwords to other users with appropriate permission levels. Automatically resetting the passwords. Manage Engine provides the option to remotely change passwords for selected resource. So using this product, you can change the passwords of server present in a remote location from the web interface itself. Control access. You can centrally control and manage access to sensitive resources by provisioning password access to employees and vendors based on the principle of least privilege. Also, make use of the well architected access control workflows where a request release mechanism for users is required. So before a user retrieves a password, he has to request and get it approved by an authorized administrator. Launching direct connections. So passwords of remote systems and applications are getting stored in the product securely. Normally, to log into the systems and applications, you need to copy the password from the Password Manager Pro and paste it in the target system. Instead, this tool provides an option to automatically log into the target systems and applications from the interface itself. This eliminates the need of copying and pasting of passwords or even revealing the passwords in clear text to the users. So without having access to the passwords in clear text, users will be able to launch an RDP, SSH, Telnet, SQL sessions from the browser itself and record sessions and audit. So each and every action performed inside this tool will be audited and stored as an audit event. Also, the SSH, RDP, Telnet, SQL sessions which are launched from this tool will be recorded and stored as a video, which the administrators can play back whenever required. This will be very useful for achieving the compliance. Right. So this is a quick overview about the Password Manager Pro. Now let's look into the important terminologies. While working with this product, you will come across some terminologies which have unique meanings. So it's worthwhile to take a note of those terminologies before proceeding further. Resource. Resource is pretty simple. Any server, device, database, application, or even files for which you would like to store and manage the passwords, we refer the term as resource. Resource group, grouping a particular account or a group of resource is called as resource group. User accounts, the account for which you would like to manage the passwords. Example, local admin password, root account password, sysadmin password. So any passwords which you are trying to store and manage using this tool and the account associated for it, we refer it as user accounts. And user, it's pretty simple. Anyone who needs access to Password Manager Pro, okay, they have to be added as a user inside this tool. We are going to look into detail about this. So anyone who has access to the application, we refer as user. User group is once again grouping all those users who are having access to the application. We refer as user group. Password policy. Using this, you can generate passwords by defining the structure and the complexity of it. So, as I mentioned you, for any security products like password management solutions, they help you in generating the strong passwords. So, password policy is nothing but defining the complexity and generating the passwords based on it. And last but not least, PMP, which is an abbreviation for Password Manager Pro. All right. So these are the important terminologies. Okay, so now we are going to look into launching the web interface and how do we get authenticated. Okay, so by to connect to the web interface, that is, Password Manager Pro is supported in all the latest browsers like uh, I mean Chrome, Firefox, IE, and Edge. We support all these browsers. Okay, and in order to access the user interface, you have to type in HTTPS colon forward slash forward slash the host name of the server followed by the port in which the application is listening. Okay, this host name is not mandatory. If you have created a alias name or a friendly name instead of the host name, you can also make use of it. And once again, this connection is completely encrypted and it is HTTPS over SSL. Okay. Um, Also, you will by default the product comes with a self-signed certificate. So if you are prompted for a security warning, please accept it. If a proper certificate is configured, then you will not be prompted for it. However, when the product is installed and when you try to access it in the during the initial stage, if the SSL certificate is not being configured, then you have to accept the certificate warning. So this is how you're going to access the web interface. The next one is going to be the authentication. We support various authentication mechanisms. Since Password Manager Pro serves as a vault for sensitive passwords, it is essential to have strong authentication mechanism to grant access to the software. Password Manager Pro provides various authentication options and users can choose the ones that suit their environment better. Apart from the local authentication, which is being supported, there is a provision for leveraging the authentication of external identity such as Active Directory, LDAP, and others. Okay, so these various mechanisms available, we will go ahead and look into that in detail. Okay, with Active Directory integration, user addition in Password Manager Pro is quick and easy. Once integrated, you can directly import user profiles and groups or OUs from Active Directory inside the product. Moreover, user account provisioning in the product becomes simple. For instance, if you import an existing OU of a database administrator from the Active Directory, you can easily allocate the database passwords to that imported group. And you can also integrate Password Manager Pro with Azure Active Directory, where the users can be imported. And once integrated, they will provide their Azure AD credentials to log in. and we also support LDAP compliant directory like Novel eDirectory, Open LDAP, etc. And Samuel single sign-on. This product also offers support for SAML 2.0, which facilitates integration with the federal identity management solutions for single sign-on. PMP here, the Password Manager Pro here acts as a service provider and it integrates with identity providers using SAML 2.0. So once you have integrated this product with any IDP, the users have to just log into the IDP and then they can automatically log in to Password Manager Pro from their identity providers UI. In addition, you can also integrate with Radius servers, which eliminates or you can bypass the local authentication by making use of the Radius authentication. And we also support smart card PKI certificate based authentication, which once again makes authentication stronger because to get access to the interface, you have to possess your smart card followed by a unique personal identification number. All right. So these are all the various first level of authentication which has been supported. Followed by that, we also support two-factor authentication. Okay, an additional protective layer of user authentication that ensures only right people have access to sensitive resources. So Password Manager Pro provides multiple options for configuring second level of authentication. Those options are phone factor, which is being provided by Microsoft, RSA Secure ID, Google Authenticator, Radius, Dio Security, and one-time password sent through email, which is designed by us in the product. So these are the various two-factor authentication, and it's highly recommended to configure two-factor authentication for users to ensure the security. Now, let's get into the password, the end user's point of view. All right. So now let's see how to view a shared account details and resource groups as a password user. So in order to see this, I would like to quickly take you to the UI and show exactly how it looks like from the user's point of view. So once the users provide their login credentials, in the left side, you will see all my passwords, favorite passwords recently accessed, and then followed by the resource groups which are being shared to you. Okay. Now, first let's take all my passwords. When you go for all my passwords, we have two options. One is you can either set resource as a default view or passwords as a default view. So whatever you are selecting, that will be set to default automatically and will display it as soon as you log in. And the next option is going to be the favorites. So the favorites, you have to create the favorite passwords. All in order to create the favorite passwords, all you have to do is simply just click on this mark as favorite option. Once it's been selected, it will get automatically displayed over here. And recently accessed, based on the recent access passwords, the date and timestamp, we provide you the list of the passwords over here. And you will also see all your resource groups. Apart from this, we do have an option here to export. As a password users, you can export the passwords in plain text, XLS, or you can also have it as an encrypted HTML file. So when you do it as an encrypted HTML file, you will be prompted to enter a passphrase, and you have to remember this passphrase every time when you try to access the file offline. It will be prompting you for it. All right. And yeah, this is about the password explorer point. Or so as soon as a password user logs in, this is all the various views actually you can see in the product. The next one is going to be uh, viewing and modifying the passwords. So from the password user perspective, let's see how a password can be retrieved or end user can make use of it. Okay. Now, if you see here, there are a lot of passwords which is being visible. Okay, but few passwords are, asterisks, and few are hashed out, and few you see a request button. So if you see a asterisk here, it means you can directly retrieve the passwords in clear text, and you can also copy it to a clipboard. All right, and few passwords will be hashed out, and when you just roll your mouse cursor over on top of it, it will tell you that you are not allowed to retrieve this password, but you can directly log into the system by using the options under open connection. So it clearly says that you will not be able to retrieve the passwords in clear text, but you can automatically log into the machine. So let's quickly see how it works. I'm going to try to take an RDP session from here. Okay, so this is how an RDP session will be launched. And whatever you do during this session, it will be completely recorded and stored as an video. So the end user, right? So your administrators can see what you have done during this RDP session. So this is how you will launch an RDP session from the product. The same way you can also launch a SSH or a telnet session, and whatever keystrokes you type in during this SSH session will also get recorded and stored as a video, which your administrators can view when they go ahead and do some auditing and compliance. And if you have any files stored in the product, you will see the file names like this. You can simply click on top of the file, which will allow you to download it. Apart from all this, uh, as I mentioned during the product overview, we also have a request release mechanism. So in those scenarios, the password will not be visible for you. Instead, it will highlight the request button. So you have to request for the passwords, type in your comments for the necessity, and click on send. It will say waiting for approval. Now, an authorized administrator should approve this password. Only after approving it, you can make use of it. Once again, after the approving, you will see checkout option over here. So you can click on checkout. If you see asterisks, then it means you can view the passwords in clear text. In certain scenarios, you will see you're not allowed to retrieve. So in those scenarios, after the request has been approved, you can just launch a direct connection from here. Okay, so these are the various ways in which you can retrieve the passwords. And if you have a lot of passwords stored inside this tool, you can also simply make use of the search option and hit enter, which will provide you the results from where you can just retrieve the passwords as well. All right. Apart from all this, as I mentioned earlier, you can either retrieve a password, you can also reset a password. So if an administrator just provides you a view permission, you will be able to only make use of the passwords like this, but you will not be allowed to change the passwords. But if they are providing a modify permission, then apart from retrieving the passwords in clear text like this, you can also simply click on this change password and you can automatically change the password. Once again, when changing the password, in order to enforce the to define the complexity of the passwords, we have a generate password option here, using which you can generate a complicated password from the product itself. All right, so yep, these are the various options for you to retrieve the passwords and modify them. So now let's look into the next option, managing personal passwords. Apart from the shared passwords, which I've explained you so far, as a password user, you're allowed to create your own personal passwords, and these personal passwords cannot be viewed by anyone else. So this is only for you to have your own personal password stored, and even an admin or a super admin cannot retrieve or see these passwords which are being created by you. Okay, so before I explain more about the personal passwords, there is an option to set the encryption key for the personal passwords. So as soon as you log in, you will be prompted with a screen like this, where you will be having three options. The first option is use my encryption key and don't store it, which means you have to type in a encryption key for your personal tab, and this key is going to be used for encrypting all the personal passwords stored, and this key will not be stored anywhere in the product. So every time when you access the personal tab, it will prompt you for the key. You have to type in the key. If in case the key is lost, there is no way the personal passwords which are stored can be retrieved. Everything can be only reset to a factory default, but there is no way to retrieve those passwords. All right. And the next option is use my encryption key and store it, which means you will type in the encryption key and the encryption key will be stored inside the Password Manager Pro, but all the personal passwords will be encrypted using this encryption key which is being specified by you. And the last option is Password Manager Pro will randomly generate an encryption key, unique key for every user, and all the passwords will be encrypted based on it. So if you select the first option, every time when you access the personal password, you have to type in the encryption key. Whereas if you go for second and third option, it will not prompt you for the key. However, still there will be a unique key which is going to be used for encrypting the personal password stored. And for personal passwords, we have four default categories. First one is web accounts, which is for storing all the websites and web-based application related passwords. Bank accounts, it's self-explanatory. Credit card accounts, once again, it's going to be self-explanatory. And personal accounts, which is like having a business card or some contacts stored inside this tool. Apart from this, we also have an option to create your own custom categories. So let's once again get into the user interface and see how exactly it looks like. So these are few personal passwords stored by me. That is the website passwords, also banking information like account number, branch, etc., and credit card information which is getting stored, and contacts. Okay, so these are my personal passwords and account details which are stored inside the tool. Again, you can create your own category by specifying the column, type, whether it should be a character column, whether it should be a numeric password or a date column. You can choose your own and customize it. Okay. Yep. And here we have an option. So if you have all your personal passwords currently stored in a Excel or a spreadsheet, you can simply go ahead and import them inside this tool by just creating a comma separated or tab separated file. And once all your contacts are being imported, whenever you need, you can also export those as a PDF or XLS from this tool as well. All right. So this is about the personal passwords. Let's get into the next topic, which is the browser extension. Okay. So we also provide a browser extension. Okay, so currently we support the browser extension is supported for Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer. Very soon we will also provide an extension for the Edge browser as well. And for these extensions, you can simply go to the user interface. You can click on the user icon, browser extension. which will allow you to automatically download and install the extension based on the browser which you are using. All right. And these are going to be the various options you can, or the various actions which can be performed using the browser extension. The first one is viewing the passwords. You can search for the passwords. You can automatically launch an RDP or SSH session, and auto fill username passwords for any websites or web-based application. I will show you how exactly it works. And you will be also allowed to copy username passwords, download files, and request for the workflow. So you can also request for the passwords. Okay, so this is the browser extension here. I'm going to quickly log in as a user to show you how exactly it looks like. So as soon as you log in, so this is the search option, which the very first option which we explained you, where you can search for the passwords, and you will be able to copy them to the clipboard, etc. And yep, the next very important thing is you will be able to launch RDP sessions from this tool. So you can simply click on this open connection, Windows Remote Desktop, which will allow you to take you to the remote screen. Okay, so you can RDP from this tool, and even this will get recorded along with auditing. Okay, and the next option with the browser extension is going to be the website auto login. Okay, the very important features where you can simply click on this auto login button. It will take you to the website, and it will auto fill in the username password, and it will allow you to log in. So any web-based application, you can simply click on this, and if you click on open connection, it will automatically take you to the website and fill in the username password from there. Got it? And yeah, so here this is going to be like you will be able to see all the shared passwords here, and favorite passwords is here. Recently accessed password is going to be here. Apart from it, you will also have personal passwords. You can even log in, auto login using the personal passwords from here as well. Okay, so these are the various options which are being supported by the browser extension. Now let's look for the next topic, which is going to be the mobile access. Yeah, we have mobile apps for Password Manager Pro. The supported ones are Android and iOS. Okay, for Android, we support all the device which has version 4.0 or later. And once again, the iOS app is supported on iPhone, iPad, and iPod, for which we need iOS version 6.0 or later. And yeah, the various actions which can be performed with mobile app, or you can view the passwords, search the passwords, you can automatically launch RDP SSH sessions, and you can copy the username passwords, request for passwords. In addition, we also have an option where you can access the passwords securely offline, provided this option is being enabled for you by your administrator. Okay, so let's look into that. In order to install the mobile app, all you need to do is just go to the Apple Store or Play Store, where you can search for Manage Engine space Password Manager Pro. You will get the app listed. You can download it and install. Once the app is installed, this is the very first screen you will get, where it will ask you for the server name, port, and if you're an MSP user, you will be prompted for your organization detail. So the one on the left side is the iOS, and the one on the right side is the Android app. So once you fill in this information, in the next screen, it will be prompting you for your username and password credentials, which you have to type in. Okay, so here if you have AD or LDAP, even you can use those credentials. For this to work, you have to be connected to your corporate network. All right, and once you're connected to your corporate network, you can authenticate. After authenticating, the next screen, the very first time when you log into the product, it will ask you to type in a passphrase. Okay, so this passphrase is once again for offline access. So whenever you're trying to use your mobile app offline, okay, all the passwords which are getting stored in the app is going to be encrypted using this passphrase. So it is compulsory, you have to create the passphrase, and once again we use AES 256-bit encryption to encrypt all the passwords which are stored in the mobile app. And after setting up the passphrase, this is how the main screen will look for you guys. Okay, so once you get access to the app, it's pretty straightforward to use it. And if in case you need more details, you can always contact us, and we will be able to help you with the mobile app also. Okay. So this brings to the end of this training for password users. Right now, it's time for question and answers. Please raise your questions through the chat window. I will answer them. Also, as I mentioned earlier, this session is recorded, and if in case I miss to answer any of your questions, we will send you a separate email with all the answers. All right. So just give me a minute when I get into the questions. So Alex has asked for the copy of the webinar. Yes, it's completely recorded as I mentioned you. I will definitely send it across to you. Is it also possible to modify a resource? I mean, as a normal in password user, you cannot modify the resource. However, in the latest versions of Password Manager Pro, we have provided custom roles. So you can ask your administrator to create a custom role and provide you with those custom role where you can modify a resource. So it is possible by creating custom roles, but not with the default password user role. If a user uses personal password, is there a way to retrieve it? No, it is definitely not possible. As I mentioned during the presentation, personal passwords, it's only for the users to have their own personal information, and it's going to be once again encrypted. So there is no way of a password of a user, personal password of a user can be retrieved by an admin or super admin. Even if you're a super admin of the tool, you will still not be able to retrieve it. In the browser extension, only local passwords work. Is there a way how AD usernames can be integrated? So this is my local installation, so I was not able to get it integrated with AD. However, the browser extension will work with AD integration. So if you have integrated Password Manager Pro with Active Directory, when you install the browser extension, and as soon as you provide the server details, it will automatically prompt you for the AD credentials. Okay, so yes, browser extension supports the AD authentication. So I try to modify a resource, but I cannot rename it. Is it possible to do? As I mentioned, password users will not be able to modify it. Only administrators and password administrators can modify them. If you want a resource to be modified as a normal user, then I request you to make use of the custom roles. I've got a question. Can you show how a personal password can be reset to default? Um, I'm sorry. Can you just send a email to password manager pro support at manageengine.com? I will send you the detailed procedure to reset the personal pass tab to the factory default. Is it possible to change multiple connection password view upload or in one shot? Deepmala has asked this question. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what about your question. Could you please once again send an email to password manager pro-support at manageengine.com, or you can also send it to praveenkumar.k at manageengine.com. So you can send your question to this email address. Kindly elaborate it so that I will reply back to it as soon as possible. Okay. So yeah, this comes to the end of the webinar. As I mentioned earlier, this session is completely recorded, and we will soon publish it in our community. All right. Once again, thanks for joining the webinar today in your busy schedule. Hope this webinar was useful and informative. Have a nice day. Cheers.